Hey, this your girl, Charlie Baltimore, and you tuned in with my homeboy show, The Biz with D. And it's David, not Dwayne. Don't make me come for you. B&B, baby.
All right, everybody, thanks for tuning into The Biz with D. Right now, we got our girl, Charlie Baltimore. And y'all don't know who Charlie is, first of all. Murder, Inc. Oh, my gosh, like, no one does it better. I mean, down-ass chick. I mean, woo! Good. Do I need to really refresh your memories? Like, I'm 20 years old and I know about this. Come on, get it together. And she's with us. How's it going?
It's going great. Thanks for having me on your show.
No problem. I mean, we missed you when we were supposed to do the interview on our premiere show way back. But you know what, though? I feel like now is the better time because now we have so much more to even talk about. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Most definitely. So now I wanted to ask you about, taking the route of being independent versus, wanting to be with a major label again because, a lot of people know, I guess some people understand the political, decisions that have to come with, with a major and the independent. What made you decide, with your projects after Murder, Inc., just go independent?
Well, I really wasn't too much focusing on just straight independent work. With this situation, I actually co-own the label. So,
right.
That's a whole different type of situation. And, as well as us being independent, I'm also putting my projects out under my own label, under my own umbrella. So, that's a whole different experience. And for me, it works better because I'm really creative, and I don't really like to follow protocol format as far as records. You know what I'm saying? I think, my fans have grown to expect a certain degree of a certain style from me. And, a lot of times with labels, they just try to kind of, put you in a little pigeonhole with whatever side or try to get you to follow some sort of format. And I've never really been that type of an artist. So for me to own my label is just a better, situation all the way around the board.
Right. And now is the because I'm just looking online. Tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm right. Is the label distributed through E1?
No, it's not. The label is not distributed through E1. We started this label, a rapper out of Detroit named Trick and myself in February, and we weren't really sure the direction that we wanted to take the label in at first, but we knew we had a lot of common interests as far as just how we felt about majors and a lot of the ways that they handle their artists. And we just felt like being as though both of us were already artists, we could really bring a whole different flavor to artists that we signed. Because a lot of times the executives at labels have never been artists. I mean, there are a few that have, but for the most part they haven't. And there's a lot that comes with that, And if you understand it from an artist perspective, I think you can really get, everything that all your ducks lined up in a row. So, I really wanted to keep the label small and boutique, and so far it is. Right now we have like 3 artists signed, and it's just a great experience. Like I just came off a tour promoting my mixtape, and I took all the artists with me, and it really just gives them a taste of what's to come for them and how we're going to promote their project, and I can give them my insight. Whereas when I came into the industry, I really didn't have anybody to follow or mentor me. It was kind of like music industry 101, like, I was in school, like, learning it the hard way, whereas, obviously everybody has to learn and make their own mistakes, but, to have somebody that can say, no, don't do that, or just guide you and steer you in the right direction is just a greater experience all the way around the board.
That's phenomenal. Congratulations on the label. I mean, I saw that, we follow each other, so I definitely had seen and, definitely been keeping up with what's going on, and that's something huge right there. To take the accountability, say, you know what, I'm going to start my own label. I'm going to take some artists under my wing and really, show them how it's done and, help them put them in the right direction. Because nowadays, people are just getting thrown in or they just getting signed and
they're
no
clueless.
guidance.
And that's, that is really a lot of times what happens when artists get signed to their first deal. And people are like, oh, what happened? They were shelved or whatever. Their music was whack. And it's never really any of those reasons. You have to think for an artist to get signed to a major, their music really technically cannot be whack. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that have to co-sign that. And allow them to come in. It's just always like the powers that be and other underlying things that, you know, don't allow for the artist to break, or it's just so many different, you know, parts to it. And, you know, with us, it's like, okay, I'm not here to turn whatever artist that I decide to sign into some sort of like cookie cutter artist, or you have to be like such and such, or I need you to rap this way. I'm just trying to develop whatever style that they already have and take it to the next level. I really believe in the integrity of the artist. Like,
right,
you know, whatever it is that you're good at, whatever your zone is, you should stay in that zone and just really, you know, master it 100%. Because only with that can you grow to, you know, evolve into whatever you may wind up becoming as far as creatively or as an artist, just in general.
Definitely. So now let's talk about this this mixtape, Hard to Kill. I mean,
yes.
Whoo, it is hard to kill, Charlie. I mean, damn, this shit is off the motherfucking rafters. I had to go this in with my mouth because it's that serious. Seriously.
I was, you know, I've always been lyrical, and that's, you know, that's my lane, that's my zone. So I really just wanted to turn it up a notch. And, you know, I'm a Philly girl, so, you know, I definitely have that East Coast style, that East Coast flavor. But I recorded the mixtape in Detroit, which they have a whole nother sound and, you know, a whole nother style. So just combining the two, it really put me in a great space, and I was just able to do it exactly the way I wanted to do it creatively without anybody telling me, nah, you should do this, you should do that, you got to have this kind of song. I'm like, fuck that. I'm going to do what I want to do because, you know what I'm saying, I know what I like, and I know that the people that do like my music, that's what they expect from me, as opposed to me trying to do, you know, something that's not me, or, you know, follow whatever is supposed to be hot right now. For, you know what I'm saying, I basically was able to just take the reins and do it the way I wanted to do it.
Definitely. And I really love just how it's really done. I got to refresh my memory. Let me go down to the track listing to tell you which one is my favorite, because I love them all. But my particularly favorite one, oh my gosh, will it come to my head? Will it come to my head? Let me tell you. One Queen is that shit, okay?
A lot of people seem to like that record a lot.
I'm really not hard to that. Tell me, you know, the concept with that joint right there, because, I mean, it's so ill. Everybody, you need to check it out. But tell me about that, Charlie.
One Queen really was actually a record I wrote last summer, and I just out of all the songs on the mixtape, that's the only song that has a beat that was, you know, was previously used. It was a Rick Ross sample, something that was on his album, and I had wrote it to that particular beat because I was just, you know, just writing or whatever, and I realized that I really needed to keep the integrity of the record the same as when I wrote it. So I used that, you know, that sample, and it's just a really lyrical perspective on how I kind of came up, and, you know, all of the kind of trials and tribulations I've been through growing up as a young girl in Philly, being a teen mom. And I just kind of gave people like a little synopsis of my life, and, you know, in a rap format, and, you know, still managed to keep it pretty lyrical. And that is one of the favorites on the mixtape.
Definitely. Now, you mentioned the fact of growing up in Philly and being a teen mother now. I'm from Delaware. Don't know if you can kind of tell within the Northness, because, you know, it's not.
I hear it.
I hear that. I'm glad you heard it. And now, I know how, like, that, just from, you know, my family being from Philly, just that struggle of, you know, being a teen mother in Philadelphia, not the easiest place. Philadelphia is not the easiest place to raise a child.
Not at all.
Now, for you, how would you say that you probably learned from it better, I should say?
I think really, and it's funny because it kind of segues into the title even of the mixtape, which is Hard to Kill. Like, you know, Philly is not exactly an easy town, you know what I'm saying? It's known for being pretty hardcore, you know, and as a teen mom, as a you know, a young girl growing up there, it just really, it makes you really resourceful and very grounded into whatever you're doing. You know what I mean? Most people from Philly and even Delaware, just all over there, Chester, all those areas, you know, those people that come from there, when they set their mind to something or they on their grind, they on their grind. So,
yes.
For me, it's just never a matter of, why doesn't she stop? It's like, I don't want to stop. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do whatever I feel as though I want to do for, however long I want to do it. Nobody can tell me, there's a time limit on talent. That's just how I feel. And whatever your hustle is, you know what I'm saying, whatever you do, all the people I know that's from that part of town, man, they go at it. So that's pretty much my mind frame when it comes to pretty much anything.
Definitely. And now, where do you gain, like, just your influence for music? Is it, like, from what you know, or, like, where's it come from for you?
I guess from a musical perspective, I listen to all different kinds of music, you know what I mean? I do a lot of driving. That's kind of like my little therapy thing. And I actually, when I'm in Detroit, I drive from Detroit to Philly. That's 10 hours.
What?
And I do it straight by myself, yeah. And a lot of time, that's where a lot of my ideas and inspiration comes from, just from listening to different kinds of music and kind of zoning out and, just thinking about life in general. I have so many stories and so much stuff that I've been through. So, I always find a way to kind of incorporate it into my music. And it's good for me because it's therapeutic. And, by me being lyrical, it's good for my fans. So it's a win-win situation.
Wow. I'm just so shocked on how you say you drove 10 hours to go in between. Why don't you just
I do it all the time. I do it all the time. I'm actually getting ready to do it again tomorrow. I do it all the time.
Oh, my goodness.
All the time. And people are like, why are you doing that? Why don't you just fly? And I'm like, it's not the same thing. Like, obviously certain places I have to fly. But the zone out, just the zen that I get from driving by myself and being able to listen to the music I want to listen to, and not to mention I don't like airport checkpoints anyway.
Right.
So I would rather drive and, what I'm saying, be by myself and really get into myself. So you need that space sometimes. You need to be by yourself sometime and just be able to think, and you know what I mean. And it really does wonders for me. So.
And the quietness too of it. Oh my gosh.
I always said, hey, if the rap stuff don't work out, I can just go be a trucker. As much driving as I do, they like, how do you be doing those drives? I'm like, I'm just used to it. That's just what I do.
Definitely. So now I gotta ask you, because we have a couple of fan questions, and one of them wanted to know, what was it like, just like the first time meeting Biggie for you? What was that like for you?
Me and Big were friends for a while before, we took our relationship to another level. So, he was a great person, and definitely without his influence, I definitely wouldn't have been doing this as or looking at it as a full-time career. So, with that, it's not much to say, you know what I mean?
Right.
It kind of speaks for itself, so.
Definitely. Let's see, because I'm scrambling a bunch of them. I had to go back in my archives and see. This one, as far as Jaleesa was concerned, she says, now, Charlie, you act. She's like, actually, and as I quote, she says, girl, you are an actress. Tell me about your acting career, is what she wants to know about.
Well, I've done quite a few movies, and actually my first movie was a movie that Spike Lee directed, and he actually cast me himself. I went for the casting, and he was doing the casting, and I was like, oh, my God, I was so nervous. I'm like, I'm not going to get this part. I'm going to fumble over the line, which I did, and he's like, just put the script down, and we had like just a regular conversation on camera. And, I didn't have any acting experience, so I didn't really know what he was doing. But, it was kind of still the audition, but just in a natural format, and I wound up getting the part. So, you can't really get much more inspiration or drive than having the actual director cast you. And from that, I went and I started taking classes. I did a few roles, and I'm a huge movie buff anyway, so I critique everything. So, it's roles that I've done, and I'm like, oh, I sucked. You know what I'm saying? Let me go and work on this and really learn it if it's something that I want to pursue. And now I have an agent, and I'm actually shooting a thriller in the next upcoming month. So I'm really excited about that. I have a movie out now that I shot last year, and I did the Gang of Roses too. Yeah, I did a couple of things. So, Living with No Regrets is a movie that's out now, and Changing the Game is another one that's out. So, people catch me here and there, and it's funny because I don't like watching myself on screen. So people are like, "Oh, I saw you in such and such." I'm like, I didn't see it. So
I was there, but I didn't see it.
You do have to go back over the roles that you did, and critique and finesse. But I'm so hard on actors and just in general, even without me, trying to be one. That's a craft all in itself, and I take it really seriously. So, that's why I have the coach and the agent, and I really just, when I do it, I want to do it right. So.
Exactly.
But this next project I have coming up is great. It's a legendary horror film director. I've always wanted to do horror films. I'm a huge horror movie buff, and I finally got one, so I'm definitely looking to slaughter this role. No pun intended.
I know that's right. And you know what? I have to say, Charlie, like, your style and you, has been edgy from Get. So something like a horror flick and like that, yo, this is so you. It is so
Yeah,
you.
It really is. I'm excited.
I'm surprised you haven't done it already in the past though. But to
take on a major role, because this is a lead role. It's taxing. So you really got to be set in your mind that okay, you really have to embody the character. And then with all the music and everything, I've turned down a lot of roles and just stuff that I felt like really wasn't me. And I had a long talk with my agent. I really like and appreciate indie films and indie directors. I'm not looking to be in, whatever, Transformers 7 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? If that happens, it's great. But I love doing, edgier stuff where, people kind of can see you out of the box. So that's what I'm looking to do. I don't like those pretty girl roles. I want to do something, right on the edge, like you said. Goes right along with my style.
Now, would you ever do one of those pretty girl films, maybe a role that really is for a white chick that's super perky, but you would do it just for fun, just to get that experience? And would you do something like that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm definitely open to, different kind of roles. I just, I don't want to get stereotyped into that whole, let's put her here, let's, and put me in a box, because it's not really my personality. You know what I'm saying? Tall, light-skinned girl, people are expecting one thing, and I'm really not that way. Like I said, hey, I'm a Philly girl, It might look a certain way, but then when you open your mouth, it's like, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm done. I'm open to whatever. I'm open to whatever.
That's what's up. So now, Michael wanted to know, what was it like just overall working with Murder Inc., Ja, and Irv? How was that whole experience for you?
For me, that was really probably the turning point in my career. I had a situation before that with Sony and Entertainment when I was signed with Cameron and Dutch and Spade, and I just feel like I was so young, mentally and, age-wise. I just really wasn't ready for all of the ins and outs of the industry, and it kind of takes me back to what I was saying earlier about, having someone that can kind of guide you and mentor you. And for me, Irv and Ja did that for me. It wasn't an easy transition. Irv was really hard on me, and which I really appreciate now. And it was kind of like a boot camp. And they when I came over there, at that around that time, Irv, that whole period of time, it was like female rappers don't write their own music. So when Irv first heard my music, he was under the impression that someone was writing for me, and I'm like, nah. I write my own stuff, and I write a lot of other people's stuff, and he's like, I don't believe you, and he kind of put me through like a little boot camp, was locking me in like 48-hour studio sessions, and
wow,
and just seeing, where I was at as far as my skills, and, I'm like, at the time, I'm like, why is this man is crazy? Like, am I going to get to eat? Like, what's going on? But, in retrospect, I realized it was all, a training process and growth process, and the more that we did it, and the more he pushed me, it started getting Ja's attention, and Ja's like, yo, she's dope, and then that led to Down Ass Bitch. And at the time, I wasn't even signed to Murder Inc. when we did Down Ass Bitch or the video. So at one point, it was really supposed to be Irv was just, by this point, obviously we had grown a rapport. So he's like, yo, I'm going to put you on this record. You know what I mean? That was one of Ja's biggest albums. Turned out to be one of Ja's biggest albums like 5 million records or something. And he's like, you know, you're definitely going to get a deal off of this. But once we did the song and the video and all the labels started calling, Irv was like, oh, no, I can't let you go nowhere. I gotta get some of that money. So, you know, he wound up kind of like, you know, breaking the mold of the whole cliques have one female and signing me along with Vita and Ashanti. So.
Right. And with the sign of that, you never did come out with an album. What were your thoughts knowing that an album wouldn't come out under Murder Inc.? What were your thoughts?
You know, people were under the impression that I was shelved on Murder Inc., and that's not the case. I left Murder Inc. Irv and I really got to a point where creatively we just couldn't mesh. And, you know, it was a lot of things going on, you know, within the label and off of the label that just were not conducive to what I was trying to do. So, I mean, for me, it was the best decision I could make at the time, which was, you know, just let me off the label. I left the album and everything. That was part of the stipulation of me leaving was, you know, you can't take the music. And I was like, okay, because I feel like, you know, wherever I'm at mentally at that point when I'm writing an album or whatever, once I'm over it, and I know that, you know, that's where my talent lies in my writing, so I can always go and make better music or more music. So I left the album and I left the label, you know, and for a few years it was really tense between me and Irv. It was never with Ja, you know what I'm saying? I love Ja to death, and you know, I always give him his props. He's super talented. But, you know, it took me a while to really just buckle down and restructure and realize that, you know, things happen for a reason, and you can't live your life in the past or holding grudges or gripes. You just got to kind of look at everything as a learning experience and, you know, build from it and grow from it. I think that's how people become thorough and interesting people. You know, people that sit around and just, oh, I coulda, woulda, shoulda, you know what I'm saying? You just stuck there. So without all of that, I wouldn't be where I'm at today and able to, you know, own a label and give my artists the, you know, the guidance that they need and the knowledge that they need. So I'm definitely not mad about anything that happened over there. It just wasn't a good situation for me at the time.
Right. Now you got my brain sparking up other questions that I was going to wait to ask, and then the new ones. Now I'm going to ask you. Now, heard you while doing the Mo interview that it would be dope that y'all do something, but I saw on IG that you and Olivia were in the studio. We talked to her, and she was telling me that you were just playing like she was playing Love Like This, the remix for you. But can seriously, will we see an Olivia and Charlie Baltimore record? Because I'm so for it.
Oh, well, it was crazy. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this because I'm not sure if that record is out yet or not. But when Olivia and I have a mutual friend, Cisco, who manages Uncle Murder, and I was coming up there because he was helping me when I was still kind of in the ending stages of the mixtape with some mixes and stuff. And that's the first time I had met her. And I walked in, and I'm like, damn, they was playing this record, and it was a female artist in Tank. And I had, you know, when you hear something in a studio, it sounds totally different sometimes than radio, or just even if you're just familiar with that singer's vocals. I didn't know who was singing on the record. I just know the record. You ever hear a record and you just get like chills? I'm like, who is singing this record? And it was Olivia and Tank. And I was like, this record is crazy. You know what I'm saying? And her voice is so powerful, you know, and wow, she just kind of blew me away. And then she was cool as fuck. So, you know, we had a good time vibing in the studio that night. But I'm all for the girl thing all the time. You know, I think it's the industry that kind of puts women against each other and you know, tries to make it like some catty stuff. And then they meet and it's all good. You know, it's really kind of messed up. So, man, I would definitely be open to doing something with Olivia and Mo. That's a no-brainer. I've always been a fan of hers. Her voice is just phenomenal, you know. So, yeah, you know, definitely for the album, I'm looking to do something with a female vocalist. I was really looking to do something with Jasmine Sullivan. She's from I listen to Driving. Yes, I love all her stuff. So, you know, I'm definitely open to doing something with some great females.
Yeah, do something with Jasmine, because I'll tell you a little fact. I was at TLA one time at a show backstage, and there goes Jasmine. I had not even recognized that she was back there. I'm like, Really? And you know how she was saying she wasn't doing any music, though she knew.
I'm gonna make her do something now. Because we have a mutual friend too. My hairstylist is a friend of hers, and I was just so happy. I don't know if I was playing her album or I was talking about her, like, yo, and she's like, oh, that's my friend. I'm like, what? So, I'm just really waiting to start on the album before I, start reaching out to people. I don't want to do it prematurely, being as though we're still kind of, in the stages of the mixtape.
Right.
But, yeah, she's definitely somebody that I'm a huge fan of.
Absolutely. Now, how would you say the response so far has been to Hard to Kill?
It's really been good. It's really been good. And people that respect and like lyrics, they're really, pleased and impressed. And I'm grateful for that, because I feel like there's, right now it's not really a huge lane for female lyricists, and
right.
people, and even with bigger labels, they feel like that's old, or, we want to hear pop music, or we want to hear, stuff that's more, diluted, or dance music. And that's just not really my lane. But I do feel like it's so many different female artists right now. It's something for everybody. So for the people that like lyrics and people that like punchlines, that's kind of what I bring to the table.
Definitely. Now, can we expect to see some videos?
Oh, we have a video out. The first video off of the mixtape is called B&B, and it was, it has featuring Clifton Powell, and that's another kind of thing that, it just was added to MTV and BET.
Right.
Yeah, and that's kind of going to be our staple. Well, as far as this mixtape is concerned, it is. We really just brought a more cinematic view. That whole kind of old school video where they give you a little mini movie. And that's kind of what we did with the first record off the mixtape. Again, it's called B&B, and we're getting ready to shoot 2 more videos. I don't want to give too much information away, but one, there's a record on my album called Used To, and that has my daughter singing on it. The daughter that Mo was just talking about, that model, she sings too. And that's really going to be crazy, because I have an actor that's going to kind of play the lead with me. The song is about a love kind of gone wrong. So it's really going to have a crazy cinematic quality, and again, have my daughter in it. I don't think I've seen it